After I have woven the first additional row here, I try my base form on and see that I have woven quite enough, and I can start lifting the poles already. In order to continue weaving in the same direction, I usually turn the article. I press the sides a little to get rid of unsmooth gaps that happen sometimes. And after that I perform the transition. You have to make it necessarily to make the article stable. For this very article it is very important to be stable. For this purpose I soften the poles and lead the poles up, passing 2 poles at a time to make the article still more stable. You can watch the tutorial on how to pass on or to make a transition from the bottom to the walls on our site. Notice that I have inserted additional poles at the corners. You can as well stick them to the bottom from the very beginning when you start preparing a bottom, but I didn't, and that is why I had to add the corner poles in the process. And this way continue till we finish the transition. When I have completed the transition, I weave the first 2 rows in the technique of direct and opposite rope without the base form yet, in order to straighten the poles, because after the transition they stick slantwise, so I weave 2 rows to make them stick upward. Afterwards you can insert the skewers. It is one more thing you have to weave these 2 rows for, to prepare space where to insert the skewers. So direct and opposite rope. We have woven direct and opposite rope with yellow tubes, separated the pattern with a dark rope, and now pass on to printed cotton weave with the white tubes. I have lengthened the white tubes, and because there is an even number of the poles in my article, we weave 2 tubes with 2 tubes at once. Regular printed cotton weave. Soften a little. 1 tube and the second tube right after it, to avoid twisting the article too much. It is very convenient weaving 2 rows at a time with 2 tubes. On the odd number of the poles we weave printed cotton weave with 1 tube. On the even number you can weave with 2 tubes at a time. A little unsmooth here, so let's go back. Because we are going to decoupage the article afterwards, it is very important to weave everything smoothly. Try to fix the corners, pressing them to the base form. And this way continue weaving up to this height, following the base form. So we have woven the required number of the rows in the technique of printed cotton. Then we have woven the brown rope and yellow direct opposite rope symmetric to the bottom part. And continue weaving incomplete rows in the technique of printed cotton weave with 2 tubes. Here I have made 1 turn already, and I interweave green and light brown tubes between the yellow ones, which is a good way to get rid of remainders of different colors and at the same time to add the shades that will fit the pattern of decoupage in the lower part. In our case it is sunflowers, so we use yellow, green and brown colors. So we turn in the same way as we do while weaving in the technique of a rope. Look, we weave the incomplete rows, so to get this kind of a ladder, we have to engage fewer and fewer poles each time. For the first time we have engaged that pole, this time we are going to embrace this one. How we do it? We turn and continue weaving. Here we turn in the same way and weave in the technique of printed cotton. At first with one tube and then with the second one. I haven't inserted the skewers yet because my poles are very rigid. I'm going to insert the skewers in the upper part in the places of lengthening, weak place. So far I do without them. As for those who are going to weave on regular soft poles not made of office paper, you will need to insert the skewers at this stage. Because otherwise, without skewers, the printed cotton weave will not hold the poles straight up. And continue lengthening the tubes gradually. I try to hide the places of connection of tubes behind. Here I have failed, but in most places I've succeeded. Or actually not behind, but rather in the place of parsing. And continue this way. Here you can insert a brown tube. Try to hide the place of connection. So we make such inclusions of different colors. Continue weaving incomplete rows, with each row rising like stairs. After I have lengthened the tubes, the skewers become necessary, because the places of connection are a weak place. In the process of working, the tubes can bend or deform. That is why I make sure that my network is tight with the help of skewers. The skewers will look upward, and I will be able to follow them to weave straightly. And the last one. And continue twining round the form, following the skewers sticking straightly up. After you have completed the stairs up to the very top, you finish printed cotton weave and start twining round in the technique of a rope in a circle. 2 or 3 rows, in the technique of a regular rope, but directed slantwise. If the tubes of the base are inserted rather thick, then the rope looks just like a regular rope. But if the poles of the base are spaced more widely, it makes the rope loose. While the batteries for the camera were being recharged, I have performed decoupage. Look, here is one more article. Newspaper looks a bit grey. That is why, to make decoupage distinct, I have painted this motif white and after that decoupaged it. We've got a tutorial on how to make decoupage, so the beginners can watch it. So, weave 2-3 rows in the technique of a regular rope. Here we have made edging using direct and opposite rope. So here you can make the edging in the same way for symmetry. We are finishing the second row in the technique of an opposite rope. While weaving the opposite rope, we draw the tube beneath the following one. We have finished the second row. So we have smoothed the edge of the vertical stand. Tuck the tips in, as we usually do, and then we have to treat the edge. If you use the tubes not made of office paper, softer tubes, then you can make the edging. For example, here I have made the simplest edging, just inserting each tube behind the following one. But because it is very convenient to use office paper tubes as the tubes of the base, they are not easy to edge, and even if you edge them, the edging will not be nice looking. There will be breaks seen on them. So what I do? I cover the edge with thick school glue. After it dries a little, I cut the poles, either with scissors or with such nippers very tightly. Afterwards, to make these stumps unseen, I take another office paper tube, in this case a painted one, and with the help of silicone glue, hot glue gun, I press the tube neatly and glue it to the edge, masking the edge this way. On this article it has come out neater, but it depends on your experience. As a result, you can get a vertical stand like this. A couple of words of the height of the stand. Here, while preparing a cardboard bottom, I was gluing the tubes rather close to each other. While in this case, I've decided to try a woven bottom, and the intervals between the tubes have come out bigger. That is why, though I was reducing the number of the poles in the same way, gradually like stairs, but the stand has come out much shorter. So you can conclude that the height of the stand depends on the frequency of the poles. If you want a higher stand, you can stick the poles closer to each other, and if you rise in equal stairs, the stand will be higher. If you need a shorter stand, you just make the intervals between the poles bigger and the stand comes out shorter. Or you can weave 2 rows, engaging the same number of the poles, and make it higher this way, of course, but anyway mind it while working. So, I wish good luck and vivid imagination to all of you in making such office gifts. I hope that with the help of such gifts will help people to create their own individual style at their working places. Good luck to you!